Hello, my name's Hannah. Thank you so much for coming to my channel where I talk all things costuming, cosplay, and live events. Today we are talking about GalaxyCon Columbus 2024 Part 2. Mainly my cosplay competitions and all the information surrounding that, including a cosplay horror story. Stay tuned. So as I mentioned in my other video where I kind of focused on all of my 501st Legion stuff, this convention is growing exponentially every year. So I've been at least in attendance since the first year it was in Columbus, and it's just amazing how much growth there is. And so not only is the con growing, but the people interested in these cosplay competitions is also growing. So I think this competition grew at least like 25% from where it was last year. So there were a ton more people interested, which is great, right? I love seeing everybody's cosplay, everybody's creativity. It's so much fun. I did 2 of the competitions. I think there are a total of 5. The 2 I took part in this year was the Friday night runway contest and the main cosplay craftsmanship contest on Saturday night. So the rules were listed on the website this year. The sign up process was really easy. You basically just like click on the link on their website and it takes you to a Google form where you fill out your information, who you're cosplaying, anything you want the judges to know, stuff like that. And so I did that for both. And I also appreciated that like the rules were a lot clearer. Like last year there was nothing about bringing like a build book or reference images to the craftsmanship contest when you go for prejudging. This year that was definitely in there, which I appreciated. Last year there was not a lot of information. I was just kind of making it up as I went along. I did bring a build book, but having that like, yes, you are supposed to bring this, I was like, great, perfect, I got it. I signed up for both things a couple weeks out. They do fill up online and then have some more spots that may open up the day of. And I had to check in each day at the cosplay lounge for each respective competition. So Friday I had to check in on Friday for the runway, and then Saturday I had to check in for the craftsmanship contest. I will mention that I was a little disappointed because the cosplay lounge had the same stations and photo ops that were used at Animate Columbus, which is another convention that is within the GalaxyCon family. So I was like, I was just sad. So like they didn't work with my runway costume look. And then I also had brought my same costume for the craftsmanship contest that I wore during Animate, even though I didn't compete with it at Animate. It was the same costume. So I don't know. It was just a little sad. I would like to see some more variety. I know that GalaxyCon is huge and it's a traveling show. So first off, let us talk about the runway costume contest. It is literally just like it sounds. You just show up, you check in, they tell you to be at this place at this time to start lining up, and you line up backstage, you go on stage, you say who you are, and then you leave the stage and the judges pick a couple winners. I know some places they will just like collect your information and read it from the sheet. This convention did not do that. I don't know if that's normal for them, but when I entered the stage, they like put the mic in my face and was like, who are you? What are you from? Etc. I was the Surreal from A Court of Thorns and Roses because I had recently finished some new improvements on that look, and I really just wanted a place to share it because I haven't made a video on the updated version. I haven't done a photo shoot on the updated version, so I really just wanted a place to share it, and I'm happy I did. But I don't think I'll compete with this costume again since it is a character from a book with no official fan art, so a lot of people don't really know what it is. There were a bunch of people in the crowd that like screamed when I said from A Court of Thorns and Roses. They were like, oh, I understand now. But it's just not a very well-known character, and I feel like more well-known characters will do better in this type of competition. I've never done a runway competition before, so this is my first experience. But now knowing that, I would probably do something else. And the other thing is with the Surreal, I wear contacts with that one that severely limit my vision, and that is not fun. So in the future, that will probably just be for like photo ops and stuff. Yeah, I hope to maybe take it to a fantasy ball one day. Maybe if some fantasy ball somewhere wants to have the Surreal, call me.
Contestant right now. Ooh. Hi. Spooky. What is your name? Who are we cosplaying as?
I am the Surreal from A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Wow, here, let's take center stage right here. Let's show off this amazing cosplay. I like it. Elf Pool approves.
But anyway, I'm really glad I got the experience. Nevertheless, I think the characters you use for this competition have to be very well known. Overall, I think it went really smoothly. There were a ton of people. They were blown away at how many people there were. I want to say there was like 70 to 80 people in the runway costume contest. And that one is not divided between like novice and stuff. It's just literally you show up and you can go on. And you don't have, like, there aren't the same kind of rules for that one. You don't have to have made the entire costume. So the Surreal, there are a lot of parts that I didn't make. There are some that I did make, but it's not like 75% of stuff I made. Some of it is bought, which I'm fine with, right? But that is kind of what the runway is for, if you didn't make everything in your costume. Now let's go on to the Craftsmanship contest, or the main costume contest. So I did struggle with some of the pre-competition aspects. You've seen my other video on GalaxyCon, you know I was there with the 501st Legion and Star Wars, and so I had a lot of responsibilities with that one. So when we left home on Saturday to get to the con, I was like really overwhelmed with all the things I needed to bring, and I accidentally forgot my build book, which was beautifully printed and ready to go. Very sad. But fortunately for me, when I realized it in the car, I went back and looked at the rules for the competition again, and they said that you could bring, like, you could show them the photos on your phone. And I was like, great, I can do that. I'm not going to worry about leaving the build book behind, even though I did print it and it looks really nice. So I ended up making like a separate album on my phone that had all of my different progress and reference pictures for Nurse Joy, and put that in a separate album so they're not like going through pictures and like, oh, there's suddenly pictures of my cats. I wanted to make it easy for them, so it was all in a separate album. And I just handed over my phone when I went in. And this specifically, they said that that was okay in the rules. I know other competitions, they don't want you to do that. So just, again, check the rules. The other thing I kind of struggled with was when I went to check in at the cosplay lounge for like, hey, I'm here in my cosplay, I'm going to go to prejudging later. This was a couple hours in advance. But I literally had to like stand in front of the check-in table for like 5 minutes while the volunteer just kind of ignored me. And then she only talked to me when someone else like that was working with her walked up, and I was like, what is happening? I don't know, like it was really odd, and she was being kind of rude, and I've never experienced that at GalaxyCon before. But this whole interaction was weird. And then she checked me in, and she did not tell me where prejudging was, and this is kind of on me. This is like, I'm not blaming her for this, but I saw on the map it was like costume judging in a certain room, and I was like, great, that's where I'm going. Fine. When it comes time for me to go to prejudging, I go to that room, and that's not where it's happening. So I was like walking around kind of frantically being like, oh my god, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. One thing I should add is that they gave me a specific like 30-minute window, like come, I think it was like 4:30 to 5. They're like, come within this 30-minute window anytime, you're fine. And it's like 4:45, and I'm like, oh my god, I don't know where I'm going. So then I walk all the way back to the cosplay lounge, and I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. Can you please help me? And it was in a completely different room that was not listed on the map. Helpful. So I finally made it there and like got to calm down a little bit before I went in, and it was fine. I just like that interaction, the check-in interaction was just so weird, and I don't understand why they didn't tell me this is where you're going to go for prejudging. But anyway, the judges were so nice, and I really enjoyed talking with them. 2 of the judges were the same from last year. I don't think they remembered me, but that is totally fine because this costume was a lot better than last year's. It was way more improved. It was Nurse Joy, but this is Nurse Joy 2.0, and she was much improved. And it was clear they were all in a good mood, and we were all just having a great time. The room was running pretty much on schedule. And one of the judges was even dressed up as like a glittery Vaporeon from Pokemon. So I was immediately like, oh my goodness, Pokemon. And that just made the day a little extra special, you know? So let us fast forward to the show that evening. This is where the cosplay horror story comes in. So I will say there were about 60 people in the novice class with me. And there were fewer in the journeyman and masters category, but there was a lot in the novice category. And I found that out when we showed up that evening because they gave us a number and we started from 60 and went down to 1. And it was great. Like there was a lot of really, really great competition and there were a lot of people that looked amazing and I'm really excited. But it was clear the staff was like, this is a lot more people than we usually have or that we've had in the past, you know? So the lineup and the waiting backstage part went really smoothly and I had fun chatting with the other people in line. Last year I was so nervous and stressed out that I just kind of like stood backstage, like really tensed up the entire time. Having had the experience of doing it before, like I really knew what was going on and I was way more relaxed. I was talking to people and it was fun because it was like the same group of people standing near me for the actual show were the same people that I was standing in line with for prejudging. So I had already seen those people. It wasn't like that last year. Like I was not doing prejudging at the same time as people I was in line with at the show last year. So it was cool that I had like some sort of like security, I guess, being like, okay, yes, I saw this person earlier. Let's talk some more. So it was really great and I had a lot of fun backstage. The competition was held in the largest ballroom and it was completely full of people, which was amazing. Like there was so much support and people coming out and seeing everyone in costume. And they had some great energy, which helped us all backstage feel really pumped up for our moment to shine on stage.
From Pokemon, give it up for Hannah Dreaming as Nurse Joy!
Up next, from Owl House, we have Michael.
Now here we go to the horror story. So the person behind me in line, I was number like 54 and this person was number 55 or whatever. And they were on stilts. And I had seen them like a lot earlier in the day, also on stilts. So they had been walking around the con all day on stilts in their cosplay. I don't remember what the character is or what it's from, otherwise I might say it, but they were on stilts and they weren't doing well with them. So I'm gonna cut them some slack by being like, yeah, you of course you're tired. You were on them all day. But oh boy, they took them off for a while we were in line waiting for the show to start, but then was going to put them on again once we got closer to our time on stage. It was clear they weren't doing so well and probably shouldn't have even tried to make it onto the stage, but they did anyway. So, you know, we're like snaking our line around backstage, and then now we're on the ramp getting ready to actually go on the stage for our turn. And I think there's like 2 people in front of me maybe, and the guy behind me on stilts, who also has antlers, I should say. He also had these huge antlers on top of his head and stilts, literally fell on me backstage. And like antlers through the wig into my head, like almost pulling and destroying my wig. Thankfully it was fine. But like it scared me, it hurt me, and I was like, oh my god, what is happening? Why is this person here? And I will say that there was somebody from con staff who was backstage with them being like, you okay, buddy? Do you need a hand? You know, like this guy was like not leaving him. He was like, you sure, man? You sure you're good? Even before the person fell on me, this guy was like, do you need help? So it was like clear backstage that this guy was not doing hot. But anyway, there was only like 2 people in front of me and I didn't really have time to do anything. So I just kind of was like, well, I hope my wig isn't destroyed. I can't really tell. So I'm just going to go out and have a good time. And I totally did. But I was pretty angry. I was like, what is going on? So I exit the stage and then I make it back out to the seating area to watch the rest of the show. And I was all the way out in the audience and like finding a seat by the time this person like puts one foot out on stage, or one stilt out on stage, I guess. But they didn't make it very far. They made it like 2 or 3 steps before basically falling over and being basically carried off stage. So like all of the warning signs were there, right? But I don't blame the convention staff for this, because literally everybody backstage was trying to help this guy and being like, are you sure you're okay? Are you sure to go? Are you sure? And they were just offering assistance to this guy. And this guy was like, no, I'm fine. then proceeded to fall on me and then fall on stage and have to be carried off. So I'm going to say here's a pro tip. If you aren't comfortable on stilts, don't wear them in a cosplay competition. This guy said he had been practicing in them for like a year. Cool. But still maybe don't wear them around the con for the full day. And think you're going to be okay to compete and walk on stage with them, walk up a ramp to get on stage with them. To be honest, I felt pretty bad for this guy, but I was also really annoyed that these antlers went through my wig into my head right before I was about to go on stage. So yeah, that's the cosplay horror story. But anyway, so this competition, this was my Nurse Joy 2.0 look, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I will definitely keep this as a costume to wear again. I might wear it to Animate Columbus next summer and maybe compete with it there if I have time, but probably not in the craftsmanship contest. I'll probably do it in a runway competition. And then this year, since I was like way more relaxed during and after this show, I really sat there and listened to what the judges were saying about why they picked who they picked for awards. And their feedback sank into me a lot more than it did last year. And it sounded like they were looking for cosplays that had a variety of skills involved or things that took a lot of time to work on. So like if they built fake armor, or if they had a lot of like crystals like hand placed on a dress, things like that, like things that take forever and take a lot of time and a lot of skill, or just like various skills being used to create that cosplay. So I think for my next competition piece, I'm going to try to choose something that involves a more variety of skills. Sewing is my home. I've been sewing for 10 years at this point, and I'm really confident there. Wig styling, I'm really just getting into, and everything else is stuff I think I need to branch out more and learn more about to hopefully one day win a cosplay competition. But overall, I did really have a great time, and I'm glad that I was able to compete in 2 competitions, and hopefully there will be time to do both again at next year's GalaxyCon Columbus, because I will definitely be there. And that brings me to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you saw, please feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, or even share the video. I do really appreciate it, and it helps me grow this channel. Thanks again, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!